year is 2092, and Earth is no longer the thriving planet as it was. Pollution has rendered it uninhabitable, forcing the surviving humans to explore new frontiers in space. The UTS Corporation has built an orbital home for humanity, but access to it is restricted to a select few elites. The rest of the population is left to breathe the polluted air on Earth and eke out a living as space sweepers, collecting debris from discarded satellites and spacecraft. Kim Tae-ho is a crew member of the ship Victory, one of the best space sweepers in the league. He tries to trade a bag of rice for supplies, but the UTS Corporation denies him and takes his magnetic shoes instead. In his quest to find his lost adopted daughter, Suni, a UTS guard directs him to a morgue, but the body he recovers is not Suni's. Meanwhile, the founder of the UTS Corporation, James Sullivan, invites reporters from around the world to meet him. At 152 years old, he is the wealthiest and oldest man in the world, but he presents himself as youthful and vibrant. He talks about his vision of cultivating life on Mars using the super plant, but his plans only cater to the rich and powerful, leaving the rest of the population behind. Back in space, the crew of the Victory rushes to collect a large space debris while competing with other space sweepers. The crew, consisting of Kim Tae-ho, Bubs, Tiger Park, and Captain Jang, is known for their expertise in collecting space junk. Captain Jang, a former Special Forces officer who escaped from the UTS Corporation, takes charge and skillfully directs the crew to hook the harpoon to the space junk, attaching it to their ship. As they continue their work, the crew of the Victory encounters suspicion from other space sweepers who are wary of their arrival. Kim Tae-ho, the ship's chief pilot, is a former intellectual commander in the UTS Armed Forces. Bubs is a droid and serves as the Victory's maintenance worker, while Tiger, a former drug dealer, is the ship's mechanical engineer. Despite their pasts, the crew of the Victory is focused on their mission and their reputation as one of the best space sweepers in the league. They navigate the treacherous conditions of space and work together to collect the space debris, hoping to make a living and survive in a world where opportunities are scarce. The Victory snatches away the space debris and escapes from the other crews, who are now trailing behind them in annoyance. Their mission is to collect space debris and sell it for a profit, and they head towards the waste management satellite to do just that. However, their earnings barely cover their heavy debts and taxes, leaving them with little money to sustain themselves. To make matters worse, the UTS cashier refuses to take the space debris they caught as the satellite building's garage is already full. As they conduct their transaction, breaking news from the UTS Corporation reports the disappearance of Dorothy, a child-shaped android designed as a weapon of mass destruction. She has allegedly been stolen by a group called the Black Foxes. Later, the crew takes a break and plays a card game, but tensions rise when Tiger discovers that some of their supplies, such as their toolbox, battery, and a bag of rice, are missing. He suspects that someone has been stealing from their ship, leading to a heated confrontation. Their distress and conflict eventually erupt into a brawl, with Captain Jang, Tae-ho, and Tiger passing out on the ship's floor, while Bubs looks as their savings account balance drops to zero. After regaining consciousness, Tiger and Bubs perform a checkup on the ship's condition, while Tae-ho joins them to investigate a movement coming from the large space junk they caught earlier. They find the missing android, Dorothy, inside the cargo ship disguised as debris. The crew of the Victory spaceship stare at the little girl in front of them, feeling skeptical and unsure of what to do with her. Tae-ho and Dorothy share a meaningful look, reminding him of his adopted daughter. Suddenly, the ship's software interrupts their thoughts, notifying them of news about Dorothy. The crew members nervously duck and cover, thinking that she is about to self-destruct, but instead, the child innocently sneezes and follows their lead. Despite their relief, the crew is still afraid of the girl and runs away from her as soon as she approaches them, locking themselves in a room. They decide to tie her outside the ship, but their attempt fails. Tiger calls the police in an attempt to notify them about Dorothy, but Tae-ho later discovers a phone in her bag containing several missed calls from someone named Kang Hyun-woo. At the same time, Dorothy wanders around the ship out of cluelessness and boredom and stumbles upon a withering plant. Suddenly, a leaf grows out from the plant through Dorothy's nanotechnology powers. The crew later gathers in a tavern to talk about Dorothy and learns that both the Space Guards and Black Fox are looking for her. Knowing that they won't get any money from the police, Tae-ho proposes to sell Dorothy to the Black Foxes, despite Captain Jang's reluctance. The crew gets into an argument on how to divide the money, but eventually settles it. The crew continues to keep their distance from the child and monitors her through the cameras. They find her drawing on the wall of Tiger's room and explore her handphone, succeeding in contacting Kang Hyun-woo. The two parties agree to meet at a nightclub, and the crew cheers in excitement thinking of the money. Tiger and Dorothy grow closer as she shows him her drawing of him. Tae-ho and Tiger prepare to meet with Kang Hyun-woo, but a police officer suddenly arrives on the Victory. The officer looks around and chatters about their illegal modifications on the ship. They all notice that the plant in the spaceship is fully alive and has been continuously growing. The officer asks about Tiger's call to confirm their report, but they all remain silent. The officer catches Tiger's gestures towards Dorothy, who is hiding in another room, and enters the room suspiciously to inspect the area. Just as he is about to discover Dorothy, Captain Jang and the rest of the crew corner him. They accuse him of taking bribes, blackmailing him, and force him to leave the Victory in order to stop him from reporting to UTS. After he leaves the ship, Dorothy steps out and gives Captain Jang a thumbs up, leaving the crew to wonder what her next move will be. The dimly lit nightclub buzzes with the beats of electronic music as Tae-ho and Tiger arrive carrying Dorothy inside a bag. Tiger has grown fond of the child and expresses his concerns to Tae-ho about her fate after the deal. Tae-ho brushes it off, telling him she is not a child and not to worry. Their meeting with Dr. Kang Hyun-woo, a renowned nanomedicine specialist, is a success, and the two parties trade $2 million for Dorothy. However, upon opening the bag, they find it empty, and Dorothy has wandered off the dance floor. Captain Jang orders the crew to locate the child immediately to avoid any unwanted attention. Dorothy's curiosity leads her to a towering pillar of electricity, causing partygoers to take notice of her. Soon, hidden UTS soldiers begin a shootout, and Dr. Kang addresses Dorothy as Cotnim, her true name. Tae-ho and Tiger locate her and are about to escape when a UTS soldier spots them, but Dorothy saves them by creating a protective shield. Returning to the Victory, they learn that Dorothy is not a mere child, but a powerful entity. Though the rest of the crew grows closer to her, Tae-ho remains skeptical and keeps his distance. They head back to the maintenance hangar to fix their engine when Cotnim visits Tae-ho's room asking to borrow scissors. At first he dismisses her, but then he hands them over. Later together they harvest tomatoes and sell them to other space sweepers. Bubs and Cotnim spend time together during a makeup session, and Bubs tells her the story of Tae-ho and his adopted daughter Suni. Tae-ho used to be a UTS soldier. During one of his raids, he comes across a human baby aboard a fleeing non-citizen ship. He decides to adopt her despite the UTS's opposition, and this attachment leads to his dismissal from the Space Guard and banishment from the UTS orbit home. Unfortunately, a year later, Suni is separated from Tae-ho during a space debris collision. The crew is then interrupted by Dr. Kang's call, which leads to another meetup for a deal. Captain Jang examines Cotnim's backpack and discovers that she is the daughter of a nanorobotic scientist named Kang Hyun-woo. Meanwhile, Sullivan is meeting with a reporter who questions his intentions for extracting resources from Earth, accusing him of accelerating the planet's death. Sullivan shares his experiences on Earth, blaming the people and vowing to create a better world by selecting only the most upstanding citizens. In the hangar, Cotnim is taken by a masked man, but Tae-ho and Tiger save her. The masked people turn out to be fellow space debris collectors led by Karum, who explains that Black Fox is not a terrorist group, but an environmental organization. Karum finally points out that Earth can still return to its habitable state. Back in the lounge, Sullivan challenges the reporter to kill a man in exchange for UTS citizenship, which the reporter nervously does. Sullivan then kills the man, exposing the reporter's hateful and greedy nature. In the past, Cotnim has a congenital disease, and her father injected nanobots into her body to repair her damaged nerves. Surprisingly, the nanobots not only repaired her nerves, but also gave her the power to revive dead plants. This power offers hope for reviving life on Earth, which has been devastated by environmental disasters. However, Cotnim's unique ability has attracted the attention of Sullivan, who seeks to use her for his Mars development project. The Space Guards have been dispatched to track down Cotnim, and the team of Tiger, Captain Jang, Bubs, Kareem, and the Black Foxes have split up to evade their pursuers. Tae-ho and Cotnim have escaped through the air vents, but they are soon discovered by a Space Guard. The team attempt to outrun the Space Guards. They manage to evade them for a time, but they are eventually hit by an attack that damages their ship's engine. They crash towards the Lagrangian point, a cosmic cloud filled with deadly nanobots. The nanobots quickly penetrate their ship, covering everything in sight. In a moment of desperation, Captain Jang calms Cotnim and asks her to use her power to help them pass through the cloud unharmed. The nanobots dissipates as soon as Cotnim opens her eyes, and they are able to pass through the cloud safely. Cotnim is left exhausted from the effort, but the crew is relieved to have made it through. After Cotnim recovers, Tae-ho finds her in his room and asks why she has not yet drawn him. She shows him her drawing, and they talk about Suni, with Cotnim inviting Tae-ho to see her someday. Then they part ways to prepare for their meeting with Dr. Kang. Shortly, the Victory arrives at the meeting place where Cotnim comes back to her father. The crew of the Victory suddenly find themselves surrounded by UTS forces with the orders of Sullivan. With a quick flick of a switch, the area's electricity is cut off, leaving Bubs and their engines powerless. Space Guards quickly organize an ambush and manage to kidnap Dorothy before eliminating Dr. Kang, Karum, and the rest of the Black Foxes. Sullivan sees an opportunity and offers Tae-ho to make a deal. Sullivan leaves, and Tae-ho decides to accept the money. Despite the temptation, the rest of the crew refuses to take the money. Taeho decides to surrender the entire amount to pay for the UTS services and is given Suni's belongings, including her writing notebook. Taeho is moved to tears as he reads Suni's note where she confesses to wanting to be a good person like him. His guilt over his past mistakes is overwhelming, and he decides to take back the money and help the crew save Cottonim. After making quick repairs and modifications to the Victory, the crew heads to Cottonim's location. Meanwhile, Sullivan has plans of his own. He announces to the UTS citizens his intention to abandon Earth and start a new world on Mars. He ties Cottonim to a hydrogen bomb. This will create massive explosion that will destroy the Earth. The crew faces a battle as they head towards the UTS factory. Captain Jang and Bubs take care of the missiles while Taeho and Tiger navigate the ship. They successfully detach Cottonim from the bomb, but Captain Jang informs them that the bomb cannot be deactivated and they must take Cottonim out of range in order for her nanobots to remain functional. The news is devastating, but Taeho refuses to give up. They need to cover a distance of 5,000 kilometers, but an elite space guard appears to stop them from leaving. Tiger fights the space guard alone but is overpowered. However, he manages to eject space guard from the ship, and they set off to fly. Captain Jang sends a message to the rest of the space sweepers urging them to fight the UTS attackers for their survival. The Victory accelerates, flying as fast and far as they can to achieve the required distance. As the Victory hurtles through space, a recorded message of Sullivan's sinister plans reaches both Earth and the UTS citizens. The revelation shocks them to the core, but it's too late to stop Sullivan now. He intercepts the Victory using his own ship, pressuring the crew to hand over Cottonim to him. In the ensuing struggle, Captain Jang and Bubs are injured, but Taeho and Tiger refuse to back down. Captain Jang climbs outside the ship to activate the booster, narrowly avoiding Sullivan's grasp. The crew escapes, managing to reach the safety of the 5,000-kilometer distance for Cottonim. It is later revealed that the crew had decided not to bring Cottonim with them, knowing that Sullivan would come for her. Instead, they carried the bomb with them and flew the required distance to keep Cottonim safe with the other space sweepers. The members of the Victory bid their farewells to each other and then take the bomb closer to Sullivan's ship. The explosion kills him instantly. Meanwhile, Cottonim communicates with the Lagrangian nanobots to shield the crew, saving them from the blast. Taeho and Tiger are surprised but overjoyed at their survival. After all that happened, UTS makes changes and apologizes for its deception. They commit to improving the living conditions on Earth and facilitate Taeho's search for his daughter Suni. With Cottonim's help as a medium, Taeho finally reconnects with his daughter for the last time. The movie ends with the Victory members sharing a meal with Cottonim, who they have adopted as one of their own. She uses her powers to plant trees and restore habitability to Earth, a symbol of hope for the future. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this.